Cybermorph, while nothing special, certainly proves the Jaguar had adequate 3D capability. It may not be able to push polygons like the PlayStation, Saturn, or Nintendo 64, but it was capable of high-quality 3D without extra hardware, unlike the Genesis and Super Nintendo. However, surprisingly few games on the Jaguar are 3D, and even fewer are really worth playing. The best 3D title on the Jaguar, without any doubt, Iron Soldier. War is hell, unless you're a 40-foot robot with a rocket launcher. Then it's kinda cool. The ad line sums up the game. There's some evil corporation running the world, and the rebels manage to steal a new type of weapon, which is basically a giant mech. You get to pilot it, and attempt to defeat the bad guys. Not much storyline, but it doesn't need one. Iron Soldier is a mission-based 3D mech simulator, and I do mean simulator. The game's perspective is from inside the mech's cockpit, and it does a really excellent job of simulating this. There's a dull plodding sound as you walk, and if you look down, you can see your legs and feet stomping along. The missions all take place in urban environments. Often small houses are present, and your mech towers over them. Likewise, tanks and helicopters are more like pests. In fact, you can even step on the tanks to kill them, which is a great touch. Few enemies in the game are a real threat individually, but you're shaking up a hornet's nest, and if you completely ignore them, they sap all your energy and you can die. The illusion of power the game gives you is reflected in the weapons you receive. At first you only have your robot fist and an assault rifle. The assault rifle is mid-range and a few bursts easily kills tanks and helicopters. Walk up to a skyscraper and punch it a few times and the whole thing comes tumbling down. Indeed, every structure in the game can be leveled by punching it. Sometimes you can use this to your advantage by opening up new areas of attack. Later weapons include a devastating at close range minigun, grenades, rocket launchers, a remote-controlled cruise missile, and even a chainsaw. But my personal favorite is definitely the railgun. For much of the game, the helicopters are constant annoyances buzzing about your mech's head. You can't hit them until they're relatively close, however, and often they do minor damage. But the railgun, which hits instantly at any range and one-shots tanks and helicopters, changes things dramatically. It's immensely satisfying blasting enemies away before they're even close enough to being able to hit you back, especially when you can do it with such ease. Despite the powerful weapons you possess, the game is not easy. In fact, it gets quite challenging later on. Eventually, you start to face other mechs, which are by far the toughest opponents in the game, but a little skill and strategy lets you take them down as well. Overcoming the challenges of the game really does require you to master the controls. The controls in the game are a little awkward at times, but on the whole, it really does make you feel like you're driving a walking tank. Holding A and pushing up makes you accelerate. Holding A and pushing down makes you slow and reverse. You automatically maintain the speed you set, and you can either steer and aim at the same time, or hit the 2 button to unlock the top half of the mech, allowing you to walk in one direction while firing in another. If you hold A while in this mode, the top half of the mech is locked again, allowing you to steer and aim at the same time. If you get confused while in the unlocked mode, just hit 2 again. The mech head and body realign, and it is as if you never unlocked the mech in the first place. Holding C lets you turn more quickly, and holding A and C, which is awkward, makes you turn extremely quickly. Pause pauses, Option toggles between the gun and the mech hand and fist, and B fires. Iron Soldier is also one of the rare Jaguar games to actually make effective use of the number pad. While selecting weapons pre-mission, you get to pick where several of them go on your mech. In the upper left during gameplay, there's a mini picture of your mech with weapons equipped. To select a weapon, you just imagine that the number pad was overlaid on top of this mini picture. Just hit the button on top of each weapon and you select it. Simple and very effective. The numerous buttons, instead of a cycle button or two like in other consoles, also makes it feel more like you're piloting a war weapon rather than playing a game, going towards the simulation factor. The mission objectives are varied, but straightforward. Destroy a ship, find a hidden upgrade by destroying buildings, guard some objective, escort allies, and so on. The variety is good, and the game does a really excellent job of introducing new enemies and gradually ramping up the difficulty. The final 4 missions are pretty tough, but you really feel well prepared for them by the previous missions. It's truly great progression and design, and you get a real sense of accomplishment when you finally beat the game. Iron Soldier is a truly well-rounded and excellent game. It is fun, satisfyingly difficult, rewarding, varied in its objectives, and controls quite well on the whole. The sound effects and music, especially the title theme, are also very good. Significant complaints: graphically, I'd have liked a little more texture work on the polygons, and the controls involving the upper mech body's independent movement is a little awkward at times. These are minor quibbles, however, and Iron Soldier ranks as not only one of the best Jaguar games, but my favorite game of its kind on any system.